Talk about the election. 2000 election, you had a big role in the recount. We covered it. It was the best thing I ever covered. I never liked covering anything like the recount. But you bring the Supreme Court in, which you were happy to, as a lover of the Supreme Court then. You brought them in. They basically said the state lost its rights to recount and keep writing because of equal protection. Now, on the issue of marriage equality, you say no equal protection, leave the states alone. So how do you be consistent there? Are you consistent or inconsistent on equal protection?
Listen, I believe I'm very, very consistent. And one of the things I describe in the book is how I've spent my entire adult life fighting to defend the Constitution. It's been a passion,
and the court.
Literally since I was a teenager.
Court. You've always been pro-Supreme Court until now.
I revere the court. As you know, I was a law clerk to Chief Justice Rehnquist.
It's in the book. As you would say, it's in the book. And this is the name of the book, by the way. It's A Time for Truth. I really think it's important to read it. Now you're for retention elections. You've had to raise a ton of money to run for president, and you're definitely in the running. You'll be in the debates and everything. Should judges have to go out and raise $37 billion to run for re-election? How can you put judges out there making politicians?
Listen,
there won't be an independent judiciary.
I am reluctant to call for retention elections. It makes me sad, but I have done it because I believe that a majority of the justices are not honoring their judicial oaths.
Is that the solution, elections?
Look, if unelected judges are going to seize every major policy issue of this country, you know, there was a time...
They seized the presidency in 2000. You did not complain. The Supreme Court said no to the state of Florida. You can't recount, even though it's a close election. You are not allowed to recount. We're giving this to our guy, 5-4 Republican vote in the Supreme Court. If there was ever a case of partisanship or ideology getting out of hand, it was 2000, and you loved it. You were cheering, you say in the book.
Those are great talking points.
But they're true.
How many times did they count the ballots in Florida?
4.
4 times. How many times did Bush win?
4 times.
4 times.
But they wanted to try one more time.
Yes.
Aren't states allowed to do that?
The Democrats' strategy was we're going to keep counting and counting and counting and counting, and eventually maybe enough people will cheat and somehow our guy will win. After 4 times.
How do you know they're going to cheat?
After 4 times.
Okay. I just think it's a case of states' rights, which you usually champion, and equal protection, which is the first time in the history Republicans champion equal protection, and then they've lost interest in it now.
You know, part of the reason the Supreme Court, I describe how the first time the Supreme Court unanimously vacated what the Florida Supreme Court did, when it came down, you know what the Florida Supreme Court did?
Right.
It told the U.S. Supreme Court, go jump in a lake, didn't even cite its opinion.
I know,
it was
they wanted to continue with a recount under the decision of the legislature.
It was partisan defiance of the court. And frankly, what the Florida Supreme Court did in the Bush versus Gore recount is the same thing the U.S. Supreme Court did with Obamacare.
You have a very good-looking family here, by the way. I must say, the back of the book here is better than the front, actually.
You're very kind, and I've said many times, thank God my girls look like their mother.
Okay. Please come back. We'll continue with this champion debater. The book is called A Time for Truth. Thank you, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, who's going to be in the debate.